Hey gang, my name's Kim Goletz. I'm the founder of Refine You, a fitness and nutrition company with online customized programs focused on maximizing fat loss using efficient and effective techniques to build muscle, lose fat, and regulate hormones and get you the results you've always wanted and teach you how to maintain a healthy lifestyle. It works and it's a game changer. In this video, I'm going to talk about nutritional techniques we can use to regulate our hormones, specifically carb cycling.
So today I want to talk about two things that influence fat loss and how to manipulate them to work for you and not against you. So the two things that influence fat loss that I want to focus on today are hormone regulation and your body's energy source. So whether your body uses carbs or glucose for energy or fat for energy. First, I'm going to talk about hormones. So everything we do influences our hormones. How we eat, how we sleep, our stress levels. Hormone regulation is very, very important to our health. It influences our energy levels, our metabolism, and whether we're in fat storage mode or fat burning mode. It is all about hormones, especially as we get older and especially for females. So today I'm going to focus on how we eat and how our nutrition affects our hormones. Hormone regulation, I could talk about this for hours, but today I'm just going to focus on nutrition. So insulin is the master hormone. It is responsible for transporting nutrients and other hormones to our organs and our storage tanks in our body. So when you eat, your insulin levels go up, and insulin then decides what your body is going to do with the glucose, amino acids, and fat you've just eaten. When we eat carbohydrates specifically, they are turned into glucose, and your body immediately uses this glucose for energy, and what your body doesn't need, the extra is transported by insulin into our muscle and liver cells for storage. And when those storage tanks are full and maxed out, then the glucose is stored in our fat cells. So when your insulin levels surge, it causes a decrease in energy, which triggers your body to crave more carbs. And the cycle just keeps going on and on. This is called being carb dependent or carb adapted. And this is not healthy for our bodies. It's not healthy for our minds. It causes us to struggle to keep your energy levels up because you're so dependent on a constant supply of carbs. This also can cause patterns of frequent hunger, cravings, fluctuating energy levels. So a diet too high in carbs causes consistent high levels of insulin, and this can affect our thyroid, our T3, which is one of the primary hormones that controls our metabolism. This puts us in fat storage mode and lowers your energy levels. A high carb diet and high insulin also elevates your cortisol, which is another hormone. And an elevated cortisol causes your body to store fat, puts you in fat storage mode. It also affects leptin, which makes us more hungry and store more fat. A high carb diet prevents lipase from doing its job. And lipase basically breaks down fat so our body can burn it, so it prevents fat burn. A high carb diet all the time can also accelerate the aging process and lead to inflammation in our bodies. On the other hand, eating a diet too low in carbs all the time may influence your hormones negatively in some people, thyroid hormones and leptin. So there are a lot of diets right now that focus on being low carb all the time, and everybody's different. Frankly, some people need more carbs than others. Some people can tolerate eating low carb all the time without any detriment, while others following the low carb lifestyle all the time will start to see some adverse effects on metabolism and hormones. So your activity can also affect how much carbs your body needs, as well as genetics and pregnancy. But I feel it's pretty unrealistic that to expect that people can kind of maintain that low carb lifestyle all the time without indulging every now and then. What's the fun in that? So you feel like you're constantly kind of depriving yourself of things, and you'll most likely fail in what you're doing. So I'm going to now talk about your body's energy source, which is either fat or glucose, and how to manipulate on what your body chooses to burn. So when you eat carbohydrates, as I said earlier, your liver changes it to glucose. This glucose is either used for fuel right away or it's changed over to glycogen and stored in your muscle and liver storage tanks. And if these storage tanks are full, the overflow is changed into triglycerides and stored in your fat cells. So glycogen is the storage form of glucose in your muscles and your liver, and triglycerides are the storage form of glucose in your fat. So I have a little diagram here. So this circle is your body, and inside your body we're going to talk about your storage tank, your glycogen storage tank, which is here. And these are in your muscles and your liver. So when we eat carbohydrates, it goes into our storage tank. It's either used for energy and it's converted over to glycogen and put in your tank. And your tank is only so big. So when your tank is full, your body then, if your tank is full, your body then takes the excess and stores it into fat and increases your fat cells. So we have to control our carb intake to prevent this overflow of glycogen to be stored as fat. And we want our bodies also to go to fat for energy instead of carbs for energy. So how do we do this the right way? So in comes carb cycling, or I like to call it flexible eating. Carb cycling is basically changing the amount of carbs that you eat to give your body just enough carbs to benefit your hormones and help muscle growth, and not too much for this overflow to create fat. And in my Fast Attainable Transformation program, my fat loss program, we do this carb cycling dependent on the activity of the day to target fat loss. So back to the diagram, on the low carb days, those are cardio days. So when you exercise at high intensity, your body burns sugar or glucose for energy, which is the anaerobic zone. And at low intensities, your body goes to fat for energy, which is the fat burning zone. So the cardio that I recommend my clients is high intensity interval training followed by a low intensity cool down. And this is for a certain amount of time. And this is the reason for this. On low carb days, you fill your glycogen tanks up pretty low because you're not eating a lot of carbs. When you're doing the high intensity intervals, you're burning sugar for energy. So you burn all of this off. So this goes away. And then when this is gone, where does your body have to go for fat? It needs to go to the extra energy here in the fat cells, and it targets fat loss. So on low carb days, you burn off all the glycogen in your storage tank and it forces your body to go to fat for energy. And this is how you kind of make that switch to fat burning. On a side note, for all you chronic cardio people, and I used to be one of you until it backfired, the more high intensity workouts you do and the longer you do this, you'll eventually activate your body's stress response, which increases cortisol, which puts you in fat storage mode and not fat burning mode. But that's a talk for another day, so stay tuned for that. So on low carb days, we do just the right amount of cardio in combination with eating lower in carbs to force your body to burn fat for energy. Then there are moderate carb days. So we're still lower in carbs. We kind of stay in this low to mid range in the tank, in your storage tank, because being too low in carbs, being all the way down here all the time, can adversely affect your metabolism and kind of put your body in that stress mode. And so since you've drained your glycogen stores and kept them kind of pretty low on the low to moderate carb days, so we're kind of staying down here, our tanks have plenty of room for glycogen without that overflow, which brings us to high carb days. And in my program, we do our high carb days with strength training days. These days are really important to give our hormones a break so our body doesn't get too stressed and go into fat storage mode. It's also important to keep our metabolism in check by giving our body carbs, which increases insulin. So insulin also is responsible for muscle growth. So insulin also helps our muscles grow. That's why we do this on high carb day, on strength day, and it also prevents the breakdown of muscle. So, and most importantly, high carb days give us that kind of mental break. Like you don't have to, it allows us to eat those things that we were kind of staying away from on the low to moderate carb days. So yes, you can cheat a little bit occasionally and still get results. So we also try to time the meal highest in carbs within an hour after a strength workout, which basically means that you eat those carbs after your strength workout. Your body then uses those and takes those carbs that you eat and just goes directly to muscle and helps with muscle growth. And then all the other carbs that we eat that day, you still have a lot of room in your tank without that overflow. So eating carbs at the right times, you can still lose fat and gain muscle. And I know all this hormone talk seems like a lot and it can be confusing, but bottom line, a diet consistently and high in carbs is bad for our hormones and causes fat gain and prevents fat loss. It makes you hungry and tired. On the other hand, a diet too low in carbs all the time can also have negative effects on some people's hormones. So to improve energy and be less hungry and change your body composition to a lean, toned, strong body, you need to regulate your hormones and change your body to burn fat for energy and not carbs for energy. And to do this, you need to exercise enough to burn the fat and stay healthy, and by carb cycling, eating carbs at just the right time so you're using them to work for you to build muscle and regulate your hormones. So I hope this wasn't too confusing and makes sense to you. So to improve your body composition, you need to regulate the composition of what you're eating. I've also done a previous video on why macros matter. I've also opened up registration for the next Fast Attainable Transformation Fat Loss Program. It's a 7-week online nutrition and fitness program that uses carb cycling, which I talked about, and other techniques to target fat loss. So I walk you through this process step by step for 7 weeks to lose fat, build lean muscle, and regulate your hormones. My clients that have done my program and that are doing my program are having amazing, life-changing results. So I hope you will join us.
Hey gang, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to be able to help you on your health and fitness journey. Feel free to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at RefineYou to stay in the loop, because I frequently share recipes, workouts, and other tips on living a healthy lifestyle. Here's to refining you, mind, body, and spirit.